All right, I say we dive in. So I want to first and foremost thank everybody for joining our first Orr Group Learns session. So I don't know if anyone's been to any of our previous webinars. We have a series called Orr Group Talks, where we bring in specialists in the fundraising space and talk about a specific topic. And this will be the first time we're doing something different called Orr Group Learns. We're going to be using more of an academia type style. We're going to be having interactive sessions focused on demos and instructions and fun. It's really an opportunity for everyone to participate, provide feedback in real time, as we will be sharing our screen and walking through some of these AI products. But thank you, everybody, for joining our Orr Group Learns, all focused on AI. Just a little plug, we do have an Orr Groups Talk session coming up on the 14th with my colleague Amanda Nelson and with Eileen Heisman, the CEO of the National Philanthropic Trust. So if you want to join that, please do. But today is all about AI. But we're going to do introductions, and we're going to do a little introduction to the session. But before I do that, I wanted to share a link, and if Katie or Campbell, you might want to share that with all the participants. It's going to be a link for everyone to make sure to sign up for Chat GPT. We're going to be talking a lot about Chat GPT in this session, and we're going to be doing a lot of demos with it, particularly around fundraising. So if you don't have an account yet, please follow the instructions from the link that I just sent, and that'll get you set up. If you do have an account, great. Please just have it up on your screen. We'll go through different examples and use cases live on this webinar. So with that being said, let's do some introductions. So I'm CJ Orr, president and partner at Orr Group. I've been with Orr Group for too many years to admit, but we're a organization or consulting firm that works exclusively with nonprofits. We work on strategy, fundraising, and HR services. We work with over about 100 different nonprofits really globally. And one of the things that we love to do is what you're listening on here today is share some insights on what we're learning and doing these webinars. So with that, let me hand it over to my colleague, Katie, and she can introduce herself real quick.
Thanks, CJ. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Katie Nichols. I am Director of Growth at Orr Group. So oversee all things business development and Marcom related. So I'm really excited to participate in today's conversation because a lot of these AI tools we've been exploring internally as we go about all of our marketing and various efforts that we have going on, as well with some of our clients. So I'm super excited to be here and be part of the conversation.
Thanks, Katie. We're going to live answer Brianna. I believe that my colleague Campbell just sent around the link, so everyone should have that in the chat box. Go ahead, Terry.
My name is Terry Cangelosi. I am the Senior Director and Head of Operations at Orr Group. We've been using a lot of AI to help our internal policy creation and making sure our systems are as streamlined as they possibly can be, and that really is encompassing of what my role is here, trying to make us work as efficiently and as best and provide as much value as we can for our partners.
Great, thank you, Terry. So I'll be doing the demo on Chat GPT. Katie Nichols will be doing the demo on Beautiful.AI, and then Terry will be doing the demo on Midjourney. So I'm hoping that we have a chance to get to everything today. I know we only have an hour. I actually went to an AI conference the other day, and we did 8 hours just on Chat GPT. So we're going to try to do it as fast as possible. But I'd love to actually learn a little bit about who's on our webinar. If you wouldn't mind, in the chat box, we just write your name, your organization. And then my one question to everyone is, if you can write a yes, if your organization has already adopted AI tools, then write no if your organization has not. That'll just give us a sense of what kind of experience you have with AI, and make sure to touch on anything that might be either very basic or a little bit more advanced. So feel free to drop that information into the Q&A box or into the chat box, and Campbell will start sharing that as we go along. All right, so we're general agenda here today. We're gonna let me see, did we Okay, Kimball did send the chat AI. Stephanie, you're saying no. Yeah, the organization hasn't adopted AI. Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Thank you, Tom. I just wanted to share before we get into Chat GPT, into some of these other demos that we're going to do. I'm definitely not an expert. I'm not a pro. All these things are happening in real time. So we're learning on the fly. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for Chat GPT. I don't know all the ins and outs of all these different softwares. We're just here to have fun. We're here to tell you about what we've been learning. And if I get a question, I might not know the answer, to be frank. However, we are very curious about AI generally at this firm. And we would definitely encourage anyone to do a follow-up to this webinar and email myself. My email is cj@orrgroup.com. If you have some questions that we didn't cover here, we love just talking about this, and we'd be happy to continue to go into more detail. Also, too, if you're doing something that we haven't talked about and that you're using at your organization, call me up. I would love to learn about it. We're really just curious as this kind of space evolves. And if you're doing something that we should be aware of, please let us know. We'd love to learn about it. And generally, just feel free to reach out to me. This is all stuff we're doing for fun. This movement or this AI kind of industry is moving so fast that we'd love to learn from each other. So feel free to reach out to myself or my colleagues at any time. I'm going to also tell you a little bit about what we've done at Orr Group. This might help if you've answered no to any of those questions above about, we haven't adopted AI at all. So Orr Group probably a couple months ago was probably in the no category. And so what we did a few things. First and foremost, we developed a mini group called an AI task force. Essentially, it's a small group of different department heads and some operational folks as well. It's about 5 of us. We kept it really small, and basically our job is to research, test, and try out anything that could be helpful to our day-to-day and or to our clients. So that's one thing. The other thing that we did is we actually did a open Zoom chat all about AI. So anyone from our firm can join the open Zoom chat and just talk about what they're learning or some systems that maybe they've tried or want to talk about or whatever it is an open chat. It just changes the culture a little bit to allow people to be more open about it and talk about it. And we've watched the thread every day. I tried this worked really well. It's a really fun way just to kind of infuse AI a little bit into your culture. And then the last thing we did was all around the legality. So we put together a AI policy. So we researched this, using AI to help us do it, but also ran it through legal and some other things. And we have rolled that out to all staff, this kind of outlining what you can do, what you can't do, just some rules of the road. If you'd like some examples, 1, you can find them on Chat GPT, but 2, we'd be happy to chat with you about it and tell you about what we've done over at Orr Group. Okay, so those are just some things that we've done at Orr Group. And if you get any other questions, let me know. But now let's get into it and let's start having some fun. So we're going to start really basic. We're going to start with a live a live demo of Chat GPT. So if you follow the link that I sent around earlier, you should have a screen that looks something like this. This is Chat GPT. This is where you live. You can post this or mark it on your Google bar. You can do whatever you want, but this is the basic program. I wanted to point everyone to the bottom left here, which goes into a little bit about the settings. Most common question that I get is, can they track my history? Can they, use data or whatever it is? What we do here is turn off chat history. So that means that they won't be able to see what we've done previously. And it's kind of like I compare it to Google Incognito. It's a similar type process. I'm going to actually turn it on for our demo because I don't mind it, but you can always feel free to turn it off. One caveat I'll say is Chat GPT isn't perfect. There are several limitations to Chat GPT. One, the data only goes through 2021. So if you want something that happened last week, Chat GPT isn't going to get that information. Two, they're not that great at prospect research or information about certain individuals. They're a lot better with general information. So I just wanted to put that out there. So don't expect, hey, if I'd like a list of 100 different prospects that will support my organization, it's a little bit limited in that sense. One also other big hang up is that when ChatGPT provides a response, it doesn't provide sources or links. And to be frank, some of this stuff it just makes up. So we have a policy at Orr Group, anything, we were to use anything from ChatGPT or whatever it may be, everything needs to be checked, rewritten, edited, and basically redone, but it could serve as a good kind of starting point. They do put facts in there sometimes. Anytime I see a fact, I'll either just erase it or go online to try to find out if that is true or not. So I just wanted to put that out there. First and foremost, you have two options when you get into ChatGPT. You have ChatGPT 3.5, and you have ChatGPT 4. I believe both are available within the free version. There's also a paid version, essentially, that allows you to do more than 25 prompts in an hour. I don't think anyone's doing 25 prompts in an hour, so you don't need necessarily to do the paid version. If you want to do the paid version, it's very simple. It's just $20 a month and goes on your credit card. ChatGPT 3.5 is faster than ChatGPT 4.0. ChatGPT 4.0, however, is a little bit more accurate, a little bit more thoughtful, and it provides a little bit deeper of a response. So we're going to start with a little bit with ChatGPT 4. If it's taking too long, we'll go back over to ChatGPT 3.5. Now, what is most important to know about ChatGPT is how to write a prompt. So basically what ChatGPT is, it's a chat bot where when you type in something to Google, hey, what is the circumference of the Earth? It will bring you to an article that has that answer. ChatGPT will write you the actual answer in this box right here. So I'm going to write a very quick prompt. Okay, and it gives you an actual answer. So Google does not do this, and this is one of the big advantages of ChatGPT. A lot of times when I go to Google, I have to go poke through 20 articles. This one's really simple and very straightforward. So what this little box down here is send a message. That's called the prompt box. The most important thing you can do with ChatGPT is write a thorough prompt. So instead of just asking, what is the distance from Washington, D.C. to New York? You'll want to give descriptors to ChatGPT. So instead of saying, what is the distance, actually, from Washington, D.C. to New York, you want to give some additional prompts to say, I am a partner at Orr Group, and I am writing this to a colleague. I would like this to be in an email format. I would like this to be 2 paragraphs. And I would like to include my opinion that it's not that far and is an easy trip. My colleague is complaining about the distance. Please provide some additional ways to travel between the 2 locations besides cars. So that's a thorough prompt, and will get you exactly what you need. An email. I understand you have concerns about the distance between Washington, D.C. and New York. However, blah, 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 blah. So the more context and more kind of direction that you can give Chat GPT, the more accurate your response can be. So for example, type. Is it going to be verbose or very short? What do you want your answer to be? So for example, if you find that this is too verbose, you can do a follow-up. Can you rewrite to be more direct and to the point? So that's an example of how you can just quickly change it to be a little bit quicker, concise, whatever it may be. You also may do word count. Say I want 500 words, boom, it will do that. And you could respond, doesn't matter what order, no, does not matter what order you type it in. You can also keep this thread going as I am right here and change it. Actually, make it more longer and more detail and 1,000 words. Okay, so you can change it anytime. And it doesn't matter how you put it in, it will translate it all pretty accurately. I really definitely want to put in there that if whatever prompt you're looking at, put in what your opinion is and what you're looking to drive home. So like, that's why I put in, I'm looking to prove, hey, it's actually not that bad. And there are many different ways to do it. I would encourage that. You always, like, I always like a tight word response. So I usually say, give it to me in 2 paragraphs, given me in, 100 words or less, or give me 2 sentences. It's very good at trimming it down, because I find that Chat GPT is also very, very verbose. It talks a lot. Looking in this case example, it's going for 1,000 words on why it's good to travel between DC and New York. And I didn't think that I could even talk for 1,000 words about why it's good to go between the 2 cities. So it's really customizable. Do whatever you want to it. But again, I just encourage the thoughtfulness around the prompt. It's all about the prompt. That will get you to what you want, the information that you need. Okay, so that's a little bit about the prompt. I want to show one fun way. One fun thing. You can change who's saying it. And like, for example, this would be in Joe Biden's voice. You can do it for any like celebrity or whoever you want. It's fun, and you could do it from different kind of perspective and views. One thing I want to point out, you can always stop generating here and pause it. And then if you want to edit it, you can say, change it here to be from Snoop Dogg. Let's see what it says. There you go. Changes the perspective, and you can also edit it in real time. If you ever want to go back, just click this arrow right here and I'll bring you back to the other one. Okay, so that's a little bit about prompts. Any other questions? That was a good one about the context direction. Any other questions, just feel free to drop them in. We'll answer them in real time. So Chat GPT basically has 7 different functions on what they can do and do really well. The first one is very simple, what we discussed before. It's the search engine functionality. And that is, what is the distance between DC and New York? Really simple, 1 sentence answer. Basically, I actually say this because you will probably start using this more to replace Google in 1 sentence prompts. Like, find me a restaurant in New York. It will do that within 1 second. The other thing that's very, very good, you could definitely add some more tone. You can say casual, warm. You could say tough. You can also say temperature. So Chat GPT has a temperature between 0.1 and 0.9. 0.1 is very flowery, very light, very airy. 0.9 is aggressive and very to the point, blah, blah. 0.5 is what your Chat GPT settings on currently. So if you want to put in a prompt, let me go back up to here and say, let's use this one, edit temperature 0.9, save and submit. It'll change it a bit and make it a little bit more direct. So the second thing that it's really good at is generating lists. Lists upon lists upon lists upon lists. Let's see if we do this. Okay, so you can ask, let's send me 100 jokes. Send me 100 ideas for fundraising campaigns. Does not matter. It will put it together, right? You can then, after you ask it for a specific list, you can say, let's let this finish. All right. Give me 5 more ideas, and it will do that. So list, fun list, your search engine. Then the third part is long form written prompts. What does that mean? That means emails, essays, articles, music, poetry, whatever it may be. I use the email function all the time. Write me an email explaining why Orr Group webinars are so much fun. Actually, this would be a great one. Write me an email thanking everyone for joining Orr Group's webinar on AI. Please make it 2 paragraphs and casual, warm tone. All right, so I find it's great with emails. If you want to write an article, it's great to do that. It will do anything you want in terms of writing. This is probably the most functional use of Chat GPT is its writing, particularly around emails, articles. It also does like legal documents. So if you want like policies, legal documents, write me a lease document on a new apartment that I am looking at on 311 Madison Avenue. Sure, it'll do it. That's kind of like what an example lease agreement would look like, but you're going to use this for grant agreements, acknowledgement letters, any internal policies, internal HR policies, welcome letters, whatever it may be. I'm going to stop this from generating, as I'm sure nobody wants to see a lease agreement on 331 Madison. So this, again, I think is the best thing about ChatGPT. Now, this fourth thing that ChatGPT does is critiques or gives feedback on writing. So what I do a lot, what I like is I just say, write this email better. Hi, John. Great meeting yesterday. So great to hear about your work on AI. So cool. Let's stay in touch. So horribly written, right? What ChatGPT will just make it better. They give feedback and immediate critique. So anytime you're struggling with writing or want something to be written better, you play Chat GPT, pull it back out, and then rewrite it however you want. The fifth prompt is called modifications that translate, lengthens, or paraphrases. So translate the above in Spanish. I don't know any Spanish, but if I wanted to learn, sure, here would be a great spot to do it. It can translate anything. Actually, I'm not sure about all the different languages that it does, but I'm sure it has many. You can also ask to paraphrase. So if you copy and paste an article in here and just say paraphrase it to the top points, it will give you a list. Thesis was this, supporting documents was XYZ, 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 and the final conclusion is XYZ. So I like modification prompts as well. I like guided prompts. This is for, like, for example, I want you to build me an invoice or a donor profile. It will make those for you. So let's use make me a donor invoice with 30,000 donation, and it was given last week. Also include acknowledgement and thank you. So this is really simple. I know a lot of folks do these with acknowledgement letters all the time. If you actually plug in your organization in here, you can you can put your details in here. So, like, for example, let me stop generating and I'll say this is coming from Orr Group. Please include my address. So then you can make it from Orr Group. You can make it from your organization, whatever. That's interesting. It actually doesn't have my address. A lot of times it does. Most of the time it'll plug in your own address there. So that's something that's very easy to do, and you can then copy and paste this into a Word document. And you can also change the format. If you say, actually, I'd like donation details and donation acknowledgement to be 2 columns instead of 1 continuous column, it can do that. It can do anything you want. Also, it can export to SSV. So you can take any chart that it gives you, and in your prompt just say export to CSV, and it will provide the instructions on how to copy and paste into Excel. So that's, I'm sure, very useful on a number of fronts, and that we've been kind of poking into and trying to figure out how to use. The last thing that I'm going to say is therapy. The last kind of thing that Chat GPT does is it gives advice, and generally anything you're dealing with, it will be helpful in answering. On how to make my webinar funnier. Okay. Self-deprecation, I like that. Okay. Relevant anecdotes. See, these are all the things I haven't done. No, well, we have some funny images later, and we will do that to make this webinar funnier. Anyway, it gives example or therapy rather advice on anything you want. So you can put in personal things, you can put in work-related things. It does not matter. It will produce whatever kind of advice or thoughts you want. Whether you take that advice is up to you. Anyway, so those are the 7 different things that I found that ChatGPT can do, and I am sure that I'm not doing all of it. However, I thought that would be just a good primer. So in the next 15 minutes, we're going to talk about case uses in fundraising. So there's a lot of things it can do, particularly around writing for fundraising, a lot of communications abilities. So I wanted to use an example, trying to look through Europe. Akita, I'm gonna take Europe. I hope that's okay. and just use it as an example. So I'm going to write a case statement for Europe. Thank you, Akita. And see what it comes back. Let's say we're doing a campaign. Can you write a 5,000 word case statement for year up? The document should include or should have one part on what year up is and what we do. Another part should explain our pragmatic pillars and impact on our community. The third part should introduce our campaign pillars, which are endowment, new building, updated infrastructure. Let's keep it at that, keep it simple. The next section should talk about how to or why someone should give to this campaign. And the last section should talk about how to give to this campaign, include naming rights. Let's see if I'm missing anything. That's generally, for the sake of argument, that should be. Oh, something to do tax limitation or not cannot provide. So, however, more than happy to provide an LT detail of the case in mentioned for Europe. I've actually done this before, so I'm going to stop generating. I'm going to try one thing. Hold on. So let's go to new chat GPT-3. There you go. Okay, actually, I think I did the 25 prompts per hour. That's why it stopped me. So that's the limitation with Chat GPT-4. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Wow, it's going too fast. Introduction. Europe naturally empowers young adults. Akita, is that right? Give me a thumbs up if it is. Let's see if it actually pulled the right information. Yeah, all right. So here's about what they do. And again, I don't know if this is right, Akita. This also probably might have been made up. Campaign pillars, endowment, new building, blah, blah. Why? And I think I had some more, but maybe it just stopped. Oh, continue generating, yes. Continue, blah, blah, how to give this campaign. Okay, from here, this is a great, like, gets you 60% of the way. A lot of this information they've made up and pulled from different areas, things on the web. Like Akita, I presume at high level, this is about right. However, really when you get down to the nitty gritty of this, a lot of this is made up and you have to edit yourself. So you'll have to go in here, you'll have to actually put where your programmatic pillars are, what your impact is, what the revenue from each dollar goes to each of these pillars. You know, there's a lot more to do. However, it's very helpful for point one start, right? And getting you just going. That's one. Another one would be like a donor appeal. I'd like to write a donor appeal message. Actually, let's go with a donor solicitation for, I'm sorry, my handwriting. I should have started at the beginning. My handwriting is horrible. What actually Chat GPT is great is it doesn't care. It doesn't care, sorry, with your spelling. It will auto do everything. And actually, I don't even spell check anything because it figures it out. This is a letter to a potential donor for our annual gala called our 30th anniversary celebration. The letter should come from our honoree, John Smith. The ask would be for the donor to give a 25K table. Please let the donor know that sponsorship benefits are attached. Our organization is Year Up. Please include in the letter a paragraph about what Year Up is and why it's important to support the organization. Length, one page letter formatted in a letter format. I don't know if that's even the right way to say it, but in a letter. Andrea, no, it does not come up with the same concern or the same content. It regenerates and it comes up with different. And also you have different options of what content to produce. You can choose option 1, option 2, option 3. And they're working on the concerns around plagiarism. That's very squarely in the legal courts right now and trying to figure out what this all means. This is why we always say, don't ever take anything and copy and paste. You have to edit, you have to check sources, you have to do all of that stuff before sharing anything with any donor. Is why I like to say, like, this gets you halfway there and at least gives you a template, but never is your final product. So here's your letter. So this is a letter to a donor asking them to support your 30th anniversary, and just goes into a little bit detail about the event, who to contact, and blah, blah. I'm sure everyone has written one of these before on this call. I know I've written hundreds over my time. And this is just a great way to get a template going. Another one is like donor acceptance policies. I know these could be lengthy and tricky, but they do it quickly. Again, a donor acceptance policy has to go through legal, and do not accept anything that this writes as a legal document. But it can give you a good kind of starting point. Policy for Year Up talks about the various ways a donor can give. Example, they can. I'm gonna try to do this very quick. Stock, gifts, cash, etc., etc. I'm just gonna do it very quickly because I think you guys get the drill. But it will give you a list of different ways to give. You can also have it give your, like, we won't accept money from XYZ type of organizations, blah, blah. It can go through all those different examples. So in the last 5 minutes, I know that I'm going to have to toss it over to Katie to talk about Beautiful.AI. One big question we get a lot is about research. I don't know if you all do prospecting internally. A lot of folks do prospecting with us. It's not that great on prospecting. It only has information through 2021. Then also there's a good chance that most of the stuff it spits out is not accurate at all. So we have not found a solution for this at all, and probably won't. However, it can be helpful in at least giving some basic information. I like to do like a meeting prep doc. Like, that's not technically prospecting, but it's helpful for folks who do that. Like, build me a meeting prep doc on donor named John Smith. He gave 30K to the gala last year, works at Orr Group. Please provide a bio, giving history, and meeting agenda. Sometimes it's not formatted that great. However, it can give you a good template that you can use for your meeting prep or whatever it may be. Notice how it talks a little bit about year up in here. Here, I don't think when you did your thumbs up, you realized that it would use year up so often, but it will continue to pull from previous conversations. So it will continue to include year up unless you tell it differently. Don't include year up. This is the organization that I'm working at. This is the information I want to put in. It will pull from previous conversations and bring everything together. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. The other piece that the last thing about research and prospecting, I actually think this tool called Bard is much easier. So Bard is a similar chat bot that has been created by Google. So if you want to just Google's chatbot Bard, it will give you this. I think that Google's Bard is better for research and prospecting. The reason is it's more up to date and it provides pictures and a little bit more information. I pre-populated a prompt here that I'm going to show. I did this already. For example, like I'm looking for a donor profile on Paul Tudor Jones, one of the most known philanthropists out there. I'm just using that as an example. And I want to build a donor profile. I hope everyone can see this at the bottom of my screen. Donor profile, Paul Tudor Jones. First section would be summary of his company, contact info, phone number, social foundations. Second section, bio, clubs, boards, anything, education. Third section would be gifts is given, anything over $1 million. Put it in a chart. So 3 column A, name and board, year and amount. And fourth is any other nonprofit organizations. Finally is list a section of sources that you use in the building of a profile. So I found that Bard's generally pretty good, kinda. It does, company info, address, blah, blah. Has some good information here. I'll be clear, they probably made most of this information up. Some of it could be spot on accurate, but you have to check. Like this is just pulling from publicly available information and it could all be wrong. What I do like about Google Bard is that you can export to a Google Doc immediately, which I don't know if you guys use Google Docs. You use them all the time, and you can just start editing from here. I like that about Google Bard. That's something that Chat GPT doesn't do, that Google Bard's actually pretty good with. I'll say though, Paul Tudor Jones is a well-known philanthropist and his giving information can be found on annual reports. It's pretty out there. If you try to go like deeper, like with the donor who's not as publicly known as Paul Tudor Jones, your information is going to be not nearly as good. So it doesn't really work with kind of like level 2, 3, or 4 type philanthropists. It obviously worked well here because, well, A, I tested it in advance, but B, because this is so well known. So there are definitely some limitations around it. However, I thought this would be a good example to share. Outside of that, what we generally use ChatGPT for, and we've discussed a lot here, but in terms of fundraising, it's a lot of writing. It's a lot of writing that you as a fundraiser, development officer, whatever it may be, will have to do, and it just makes it a little bit quicker and easier. So that's a little bit of a background on ChatGPT, a very brief intro into Bard. But as I kind of said from the beginning, we're also learning in real time and would love to chat with you all as a follow-up to anything that you're doing that we're not thinking about, and vice versa. If you want any further explanation of anything we talked about with ChatGPT, please do let us know. My email CJ or Orr Group. Like, we find this fun and interesting and would love to continue the conversation. So with that, I'm going to now turn it over to another tool that we've been utilizing called Beautiful.AI. Great name. But Katie, why don't you take it over from here?
Sounds good. Thanks, CJ. And I think this is actually a perfect segue into Beautiful.AI, because I actually also use Chat GPT to kind of put together what we're going to be presenting on today in terms of Beautiful.AI. So I will also drop the link into the chat, so we'll be able to follow along. I will share my screen in just a moment. But Beautiful.AI is basically a generative like AI presentation tool. And it allows you to create very intuitive presentations that are, for the most part, very customizable. And I do say that with a little bit of a caveat, which I'll get into. So at a high level, this is the web page that you'll open up when you come to Beautiful.AI. One of the differences here, as compared to Chat GPT or Bard, is this is a subscription-based service. They do offer a free trial. So you do have, I think it's about a 2-week free trial. But then going forward, it does require a paid subscription. That being said, I believe the individual plan starts at maybe $12, and then the team plan, which allows you for multiple collaborations, better for organizations and businesses, I think is around $40. So reasonably priced, but it could be a cost prohibitive resource if that's the case. So with that, when we wanted to think about how we wanted to present this today, I went to Chat GPT and put in a prompt that basically said, rate me a presentation that outlines what Beautiful.AI is, the pros and the cons to using it, any of like the challenges that you may run into, the benefits of using it, and then specifically why it's important or how it can be helpful for nonprofit organizations. So I basically took that prompt, and when you log in, this is kind of what the back end of Beautiful.AI looks like. And so using that prompt, I actually went down here to this little button that says Designer Bot AI. And so this is beyond the design tool. I think this is really the sweet sauce of Beautiful.AI, that you're able to put in prompts similar to Bard, Chat GPT, and create presentations. And so it's as simple as you click here, and then I would have copy and pasted my presentation in here. And then what it essentially does is generate a presentation. And this is what it generated. And so, of course, as with any of these tools, you need to customize it and make it your own. But it takes the information that I gave it and it organizes it into a thoughtful and strategically put together presentation that you do have the ability to customize using your own theme. So actually, as you saw on this page right here, you're able to upload your own branding, which makes it a lot easier if you're going to be doing multiple presentations. So anywhere from logos and colors, you can upload fonts. And that way, anytime you do start a presentation, you can just use your theme, or you can use any of their pre-uploaded themes that they have as well. And that also goes for templates. So they offer, I don't know how many, a big variety of various templates based on what you're interested in using it for. So whether it be for marketing purposes, sales, a training, they have a variety of different templates that you can use. And again, you can go in and customize them. So for our purpose today, using our brand and theme, we've put together a presentation that kind of walks through everything that I just outlined in terms of benefits, disadvantages, and then just a few fun features of the tool. So for starters, on each slide, you have the ability to adjust the layout. And so this is anywhere between, I can move the picture to the left, I can move it back to the right. You can upload your own images, or you can use your stock images. You can also adjust. So scroll in, scroll out, auto adjust. And then similarly, you can add your logo, you can position it. And again, having all of this stuff preloaded into your themes makes it super easy just to click on the corner of the slide and simply add logo button, and it pops up. So in that sense, it's a very user-friendly and intuitive platform. So at a high level, it basically allows you to create intuitive presentations very quick and easily that look professionally designed, whether you are a beginner to putting together presentation decks or you've been doing it for 25 years. It just takes that time and energy spent, using PowerPoint, using Google Slides, whatever tools you may use, Prezi, and really just simplifies the process. As I went through, it offers a library of various templates that you can pull from, and its interface is super easy and user-friendly. Again, if you're not super good with various design softwares, you don't need to be, because it has the simplicity of literally dragging and dropping what you have on the slide, and you never have to worry about the formatting. So I know personally, I spend a lot of time in PowerPoint making sure that my icons are perfectly aligned, making sure that the text on each line matches one another, and Beautiful.AI will do that for you automatically. Similarly, you can go in and again, always adjust what your elements are, the size, the positioning. You can change them, whether it be, like I said, stock images, your own icons. It has full functionality to do that. It also allows you to just type in here as much as you like, as little as you like. If I wanted to add another line here, you could simply add another line here and say, this is really easy, and it pops up and it formats it perfectly. Another really awesome feature that I've enjoyed using, similar to when I showed you at the very beginning that design bot AI, it has a little AI bot that will also help you rewrite the text. So if you have something in here that you want to change, or you are having a little bit of writer's block, whatever it may be, you can simply do rewrite text, and it will prompt you with new text. So you can see that with this rewrite, it changed how the slide looks. And that's because this title became longer. So it uses its various algorithms and design features to say this will look better actually if you have it positioned in 2 columns versus the straight across line. However, if you don't like that, you can use this tool down here, which says variations, and it allows you to pick from, a handful of different styles for the slide. You can also simply add elements by saying add a 4th one. And the thing that I also really like about it is that it will not let you put too much on a slide ever. So as you can see here, it gives you an error message that says we're unable to fit this in this layout. So either use less words or consider using a different layout. So it's really helpful in terms of making sure that your presentations are easily digestible and they're not super text heavy. So I touched on a lot of these, but at a very high level, it drastically reduces the time that you need to spend on actually designing it. Really, what you need to focus on is the content. The design piece is there. And it also not only does it give you the designs, like as you can see here, they're they look very polished, very put together. You don't have to worry about the alignment. You don't have to worry about the sizing of things. Everything can be auto adjusted. And so it just makes putting these presentations together that much quicker and that much easier. As I mentioned, user-friendly. Anyone can use it. It also offers a collaboration feature. So you can add, as you would to say a PowerPoint, you can add comments to the slide that you and your team can collaborate on. You can assign owners to slides. So if you were going to use this for a presentation, you would be able to assign, I could assign this slide to CJ, and so he would know that he would be presenting on it. And then similarly, you can invite people to either view your presentations or invite people to join and become collaborators on them. And so that just makes it super easy to work on this with a team, and you don't have to be limited to, sending files back and forth to one another. So some of the disadvantages of using Beautiful.AI that we have run into, there is a bit of limited customization. So as I mentioned before, how you can move things around, like I can reorder this. I couldn't necessarily say, I want this to sit like down here. As you can see, it always is going to bump it back to where it fits best in the layout. Similarly, with some of the images, you can't really reposition them in terms of maybe you wanted this to serve as like an overlay to the orange circle in the background. You're kind of stuck in terms of size and size alone. So in that sense, you may run into, especially if you have really certain custom designs or ways that you like to present things, that could present a challenge at times. Similarly, it is a cloud-based software, so you need internet to use it. That said, it does have integrations with like PowerPoint, Slack, I believe Prezi as well too, but it also, in addition to those integrations, you can export the presentations as like a PowerPoint, a Google Slide, so you can work on them offline. But again, those changes, anything that you make when you are not on the platform, on the cloud, will not be captured. As with any tool, there's always a learning curve. And that just takes time and practice. And then lastly, as I mentioned when we first started this, that there is a cost to the subscription. So that could be prohibitive for some users. Now into some of the fun stuff. So those were kind of, as we've probably seen many times, pretty basic slides in terms of what can be presented. And I know, CJ, we're running a little bit against time, so I want to give Terry a few minutes. So I'll go over this very, very quickly. But you can really do a lot of fun things. You can make word clouds. As you can see on this slide, you can randomize it, and it does it all automatically for you. And then similarly, they have features such as timelines. They have features such as Gantt charts, and it's super easy just to go in, you hit timeline, you switch your smart slide, and you can pick from hundreds of different slides that you want to put in here. And it's as simple as, I want to add another milestone, and it reorganizes everything in a very neat way that you can go in and change your text, use the rewrite, and make a timeline that's super digestible and makes sense. And so that is just two of the many, many features. And so just to conclude, you know, it's a really powerful tool that makes presentations super easy to use, and just time efficient. And also, you're always going to be putting out a professional looking product. I know we've started using this on a regular basis for our pitch materials. And so far, it's been a really helpful tool. So definitely something that we would recommend exploring as you consider ways, you know, to either put together presentation decks or pitches for donors, whether it be internal HR trainings for your employees. There's so many varieties, just as you would use a PowerPoint, but again, just makes the process so much simpler and much easier to use. So I will stop my screen there.
I'll also probably point out, we've probably not enough time to go fully into Midjourney. So actually, I want to put a pause there for a second, because we believe we're going to have probably a part 2 for this type of style webinar. I'll just say that because we've been researching so many interesting and fun tools that there's just so much more to talk about. So Terry, we'll put you on part 2. Sorry we didn't have a chance to get to you today. I know, but there'll be more to learn. Maybe I'll just conclude by saying we very much would love to hear what you're working on. If there's anything else that we could be sharing or kind of demos that we can go further in, do let us know. If you ever want just to talk about how to start adapting AI more generally in your organization and strategies for doing that, like, we would love to chat and talk about it. We're really just an open book over here and have fun with this stuff. So please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. But otherwise, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining our first Orr Group Learns. Hopefully you learned a few things today, and we appreciate the time. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.